After she shot me down, I ended up with her mom. Her mom, Sophia Sterling, is a CEO worth billions, and for me, she orchestrated a whole scheme to ship her own daughter overseas. It all started when I confessed my feelings to the campus queen, Chloe Sterling. She rejected me with the lamest excuse in the book. My mom won't let me. My roommates said she was just stringing me along, playing games with my heart. Feeling completely dejected, I went to a dive bar to drown my sorrows and ended up spending the night with the impossibly elegant Sophia. The next morning, she casually told me she'd take responsibility for me and made me her legal husband. 2 years later, Chloe came back and found me with her mom wrapped in my arms. Her calmness was terrifying. She pointed at our 1-year-old child and said to me and my wife, "Mom, you seem to be enjoying my things. Are you getting used to them? Mom, you stole my boyfriend, so I'm going to steal your husband." I was sitting by the window at the olive grove, my heart hammering against my ribs like it was trying to escape. Tucked under the table was a bouquet of baby's breath. I'd even coordinated with the waiter. As soon as she said yes, he was going to bring over the ring I'd bought, pretending it was a complimentary gift from the restaurant. You have to nail the presentation. That's right. I was about to lay my heart on the line. The object of my affection was our university's campus queen, Chloe Sterling. A few minutes later, she arrived, a vision in a white sundress. She slid into the booth across from me with a playful pout. "Leo, you're so bad. You asked me out and don't even wait for me." I forced a smile. "Wait for you?" I got here an hour early to scope the place out and had run through my confession speech 8 times. Did my meticulous planning mean nothing? I was worried we wouldn't get a table, so I came to claim our spot, I said, sliding the menu toward her. Dinner was perfect. The vibe was electric. We gossiped about the student government, talked about new club activities, and reminisced about the hiking trip we took last month. The wind had destroyed our tent, forcing us to cram into a single hotel room. She took the bed, I took the floor, but sometime in the middle of the night, she rolled right into my arms. We talked about the time she got her period and called me in a panic from a late-night gaming session, sending me on a frantic run to the convenience store for pads. She even casually snatched a half-eaten chicken wing from my plate, complaining that I wasn't doing a good enough job on it. All of these signs pointed to something more than just friendship, right? The way she looked at me. There was definitely something there. Today was the day to finally break through that barrier. The plates were cleared. The wine was low. The mood was just right. I shot to my feet, the chair screeching against the floor from the sudden movement. Then I dropped to one knee. I held up the carefully chosen bouquet of baby's breath. "Chloe Sterling, I've had feelings for you for a long time. Will you be my girlfriend?" The words I'd practiced 100 times came out strong and clear. Her face lit up with the exact look of surprised delight I had pictured. She covered her mouth, her eyes sparkling. There wasn't a trace of disgust or annoyance. A huge weight lifted off my chest. Nailed it. I was already picturing our life together. But her next words sent me plunging into an icy abyss. "Leo, I really like you too. But my mom is really strict. She won't let me date until I graduate college." The air in the restaurant seemed to freeze. Her mom won't let her? What was this, 1985? We were juniors in college. But the look on her face was so sincere, so pained. Her eyes were red-rimmed, as if rejecting me hurt her more than it hurt me. My mind went completely blank. Was this real? Did she actually have a super strict mom? Or was she just stringing me along, playing me? I couldn't tell. I saw the waiter out of the corner of my eye, his hand hovering over the stereo button. I waved my hands at him frantically, mouthing the word, "Don't." It was mortifying. The confession had failed, and the romantic music died before it even began. I don't remember how the rest of the dinner ended. I walked back to the dorm in a daze, the bouquet in my hand, now a symbol of my utter humiliation. Every step felt like I was trampling on my own shattered heart. I felt like a complete and total clown. I pushed open the door to my dorm room like a defeated soldier. The room went dead silent. King, who'd been in the middle of a game, Petey, who was scrolling through TikToks, and Chunk, who was gnawing on a drumstick, all 3 of them snapped their heads toward me. Their eyes were fixed on me, as if waiting for a verdict. I tossed the bouquet into the trash can. The gesture said it all. It didn't work. King was the first to speak. He took off his headset and spun his gaming chair a full 180 degrees to face me. I didn't say a word, just collapsed onto my desk chair. "I told you so." King slapped his thigh, his voice rising. "She's a total user, the queen of playing games. She loves the attention, loves that you do everything for her, but she'll never actually commit. She's just stringing you along." His words were a needle, piercing straight through my heart. Petey slid over and put a hand on my shoulder. "Leo, man, don't feel bad. Let's break this down. He leaned in. Think about it. She made you leave a gaming session in the middle of the night to go buy her pads. Do normal friends do that? She's treating you like your personal on-demand delivery service. And when you finally confess, she shuts you down. She's playing you, dude. My head was spinning. Yeah, at the time I thought it was a sign of how close we were, but now. Maybe it wasn't right. Chunk spit out a chicken bone and offered his 2 cents. You guys don't get it, he said sagely. Chloe's a rich girl. What does she want from a guy like Leo? It's not money. It's not status. It's the thrill of it. The sick pleasure of messing with a good guy's emotions. Watching you fall all over yourself for her, being at her beck and call. I bet she gets a huge kick out of it. Bro, you're just a fun little distraction in her boring life. The 3 of them went back and forth, painting over all my cherished memories with a disgusting, cynical coat of varnish. That hiking trip, I carried all the supplies while she walked behind me, hands empty. She said I was in good shape, and I believed her. Now I wondered if I was just free labor. The way she'd give me food she couldn't finish or steal food I was eating. I thought it was intimate. Now, was I just her pet she was feeding? For the first time, my conviction wavered. Were the last 3 years of my life, all the effort I'd put in, really just one big joke? Just then, my phone screen lit up. It was a text from Chloe. Leo, please don't overthink it. Everything I said was true. My mom is really, really strict. You have to believe me. Can you just wait for me for 1 more year? As soon as we graduate, we can be together for real. Reading her words, the dying flame in my heart flickered back to life. Maybe she was telling the truth. I was about to reply when Petey, with his eagle eyes, snatched the phone out of my hand and read the messages aloud to the room. Whoa, she's a pro, he exclaimed, slapping my phone down on the desk. This is classic manipulation 101. Smack you down, then give you a little treat to keep you hooked. She gives you this vague promise, so you'll keep being her little backup plan. King scoffed. 1 year? In a year, that ship will have sailed. I bet you $100 that when the time comes, she'll just say, sorry, Leo, I'm moving abroad. It's not going to work out. Chunk summed it up. The ultimate mind game. It's terrifying. The tiny, pathetic flame in my heart was doused by a tidal wave of ice-cold water. It didn't even hiss. I took my phone back. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I typed a few words, then deleted them. In the end, I sent back a cold, short reply. Yeah, okay, I get it. I hit send. Then I threw myself onto my bed and pulled the covers over my head. In the darkness, the humiliation and the agony of being played for a fool felt like 2 venomous snakes, tearing my heart to shreds. I clenched my fists. After wallowing in misery for what felt like an eternity, I dragged myself to the Pit Stop Grill and Bar, a familiar dive just off campus. I silently ordered a dozen wings, a basket of loaded fries, and a case of cheap beer. The ice-cold liquid slid down my throat, bitter and sharp, but it couldn't extinguish the fire raging inside me. I was a complete clown. Nearly 3 years of devotion, all for a my mom won't let me. I actually laughed out loud. What kind of 21st century joke was this? Chloe Sterling, you were a real piece of work. I picked up a wing and took a vicious bite. The greasy, spicy flavor exploded in my mouth, but I couldn't taste a thing. All I could see was King's smug face in my mind. She's a total user. She's treating you like an on-demand delivery service. You idiot. She gets a sick pleasure out of messing with you. Every word was like a steel nail being hammered into my brain. How had I been so blind? Running out in the middle of the night to buy her pads. I thought we were inseparable. Now I see it for what it was. I was her 24/7 personal assistant. On our hiking trip, I lugged a 50-pound pack while she strolled behind me taking selfies. I thought I was being considerate of her. Now I realize I was just her free mule. And that night in the hotel room, when she rolled into my arms, I actually believed she was just a restless sleeper. Looking back, was she just testing my boundaries, seeing just how much of a gentleman I'd be? The more I thought about it, the angrier I got, the more humiliated I felt. Another beer bottle was empty. I slammed it down on the sticky table. Hey, another case over here. The noise of the bar seemed to fade into the background. The world started to spin. Just as I was about to pass out face first into a bowl of ketchup, a captivating scent cut through the greasy air like a gentle hand. It was a familiar fragrance. Mature, elegant, with a cool, sweet undertone. I struggled to lift my head. A stunningly poised woman had taken a seat on the plastic stool next to me. Under the dim, yellow light of the bar, her profile was almost unreal. I blinked, trying to focus. It was Sophia. Sophia Sterling. Maybe it was the alcohol, but she seemed even more beautiful than I remembered. Her sophisticated grace was a world away from Chloe's practiced, teenage version of maturity. It was like comparing the heavens to the earth. She just sat there, her presence transforming the loud, grimy dive bar into a high-end private lounge. Drinking all by yourself? Heartbreak. Her voice was laced with the kind of gentle teasing that only a confident adult possesses, and it brushed against my frayed nerves like a feather. That simple, offhand question was the last straw. All my frustration, my shame, my wounded pride, it all came rushing to the surface. Fueled by booze, I tore down all my walls. Heartbreak. My voice was a raw, unfamiliar croak. Sophia, don't ask. Just drink with me. I was a drowning man, and she was the only lifeline in sight. She didn't show the slightest surprise, nor did she lecture me. She just watched me with a gentle expression, her eyes as deep and vast as the ocean. She gracefully picked up a clean glass, filled it to the brim, and raised it to me. All right, she said. I'll drink with you. I was completely hammered. My head felt like it was about to float away. Looking at the composed, elegant woman across from me, my mind drifted back to my freshman year. I just finished moving in and was exploring the area around campus. I found myself outside a gated community that screamed old money. A greasy-looking man in a wrinkled suit was harassing a woman. That woman was Sophia. Normally, I would have kept walking. Grown-up problems are messy, but I overheard their conversation. Sophia, don't be a bitch. We're divorced. What are you doing here? So we're divorced? We were married once, for old time's sake, the man whined. My company is just a little short on cash flow. Your money is my money, right? Just help me out. I was already pissed off just listening. Did this guy have no shame? Sophia was trembling with anger. My money? When you were spending my money on your mistress, did you think about us being married then? Now that your company is going bankrupt, you remember me? Get lost. The man, as if struck a nerve, suddenly lost it. He lunged forward and wrapped his hands around her throat, his face a mask of fury. You bitch, are you going to give it to me or not? Something snapped inside me. All thoughts of caution vanished. A surge of righteous anger took over. I sprinted forward and drove my foot into the small of his back. He stumbled, his grip loosening. I quickly pulled Sophia behind me. Ma'am, are you okay? She rubbed her neck, coughing a few times, a look of surprise in her eyes. Young man, thank you. I'm fine. The guy scrambled to his feet and pointed a trembling finger at me. Who the hell are you, kid? You got a death wish? I'm a CEO of Apex Industries. I could crush you. He charged at me. A middle-aged man, bloated and out of shape, was no match for a college student who ran every morning. I took a punch to the face which stung, but I gave back better than I got. A few kicks to the gut had him curled up on the ground, whimpering, before he finally scrambled away. I remember thinking I might make the local news, get a medal for civic duty or something. Sophia insisted on taking me to a clinic, saying my face was scraped. I couldn't argue with her, and she ended up dabbing my cheek with antiseptic. To thank me, she treated me to a lavish dinner. But not long after we left the restaurant, her ex-husband reappeared with a couple of thugs, cornering us in an alley. Great, I thought. Now I'm really going to get beaten to a pulp. I was bracing myself to fight when Sophia pulled me back. There wasn't a hint of fear on her face. She even smiled at me. I wasn't prepared earlier, she joked. I'll let you have your hero moment. Now it's my turn to protect you, kid. As soon as the words left her mouth, a black SUV screeched to a halt nearby. Two massive guys in black suits got out. It looked like they'd walked straight out of a movie. In less than a minute, they had the thugs and her ex-husband pinned to the ground. I was stunned. So this was how the other half lived. Simple, unadorned, and brutally efficient. I discreetly called the cops from behind her. By the time we finished giving our statements at the police station, it was already dark. Before we parted ways, we exchanged numbers. My thoughts snapped back to the present. The woman in front of me, Sophia, was watching me with an unreadable expression. It was a look of concern, of pity, and something else. The smoke and noise of the dive bar seemed to exist outside of an invisible bubble she had created. My world had shrunk to just her, the table, and the mountain of empty beer bottles between us. So, it was because of that young girl? She asked softly. Her voice had a magical quality, cutting through the alcoholic fog in my brain. I nodded, then shook my head. My tongue felt thick and clumsy. Not just that. I'm just a clown. Ha, clown. I grabbed a greasy glass and chugged the rest of my beer. My roommate's words buzzed in my ears like a swarm of flies. Personal assistant. Backup plan. She's just playing you. I spewed these words at her, a jumbled mess mixed with the reek of beer. I expected her to lecture me like an elder, to say something like, young people shouldn't be so impulsive. But she didn't. She just listened quietly. When I was done, she picked up a bottle and gracefully refilled my glass. They might have a point, she said. I froze. But they don't understand, she continued, looking me straight in the eye. They don't understand how much you invested or how serious you were. So their opinions are worthless. Her words were a warm current, washing over my frozen heart. Yeah, what the hell did they know? All they did was talk trash from the sidelines, pushing me deeper into despair. But Sophia, the woman sitting in front of me, she seemed to truly understand. A girl who really likes you, she said, her voice soft but every word landing with incredible weight, would never be able to stand seeing you in so much pain. I felt a stinging in my eyes. 3 years of my life, dismissed by Chloe with a breezy, "My mom won't let me," labeled a joke by my roommates. And now, in this moment, a woman I'd only met a few times was giving me the validation I desperately needed. The irony was overwhelming and irresistible. The alcohol finally hit me full force. The world was spinning, and her beautiful face was the only fixed point in the chaos. Her perfume grew stronger, cutting through the smell of grease and stale beer. "Let's go, it's too loud in here," I heard her say. I don't want to go back to the dorm," I mumbled like a kid who was afraid of being scolded. She let out a soft laugh. There was no mockery in it, only a hint of indulgence. "Then why don't you come over to my place for a bit? I'll make you something to help with the hangover." I don't remember agreeing. I just remember a pair of soft hands helping me to my feet. Then I was in a car more comfortable than my dorm bed. And then I was in a house so big it felt like a museum. The air was filled with her scent, so intoxicating it made you want to fall asleep and never wake up. She laid me down on a bed so soft I felt like I was sinking into a cloud. I was a useless puddle of a man. The last thing I remember is her leaning over me, wiping my face with a warm towel. In the darkness, a warm, soft body pressed against mine. It carried the intoxicating scent of wine and the unique warmth of a mature woman. In my haze, the last thread of my sanity snapped. All the frustration, the humiliation, the anger of being played, and 3 years of pent-up desire found a perfect outlet. With a sudden movement, I rolled over, pinning the warm, fragrant body beneath me. The pain in my head was explosive. Sunlight stabbed through a gap in the curtains, searing my eyes. The ceiling was unfamiliar, adorned with ornate patterns I didn't recognize. The air was filled with an expensive, sweet fragrance. I tried to move, my body feeling completely drained of energy. Then I froze. Under my arm, I felt the warm, impossibly smooth skin of another person. There was someone in my bed, a woman. The wild, fragmented, alcohol-soaked memories of last night flooded my brain like a broken dam. The greasy smell of the bar, Sophia's face, impossibly beautiful under the dim lights, her intoxicating perfume, and the moment I rolled over and pinned her down, the sound of my reason shattering. I slept with Sophia. My blood turned to ice, a chill running from my scalp to the soles of my feet. A wave of immense fear and regret, mixed with a tiny, illicit thrill buried deep inside, left my mind a complete blank. I was a thief caught in the act, too terrified to move a muscle. The body in my arms stirred. I nearly had a heart attack. She was waking up. This was it. Would she scream? Slap me? Call the police? I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for the judgment. But nothing I expected happened. All I heard was a lazy, sleepy hum. I peeked through one eye. Sophia Sterling was looking at me calmly, her beautiful eyes showing no anger, no shame, not even a hint of surprise. She looked at me like I was a child who refused to get out of bed, as if this was all part of her plan. "You're awake?" she said, her voice still husky with sleep. My mind was buzzing. I couldn't form a single word. She saw my terrified expression and suddenly smiled. Then, she said something that would completely upend my 21 years of existence. "It's okay," she said. "Since it happened, I'll take responsibility for you." Responsibility? Was I still dreaming? Seeing my dumbfounded expression, Sophia let out a soft laugh and slowly sat up. The black silk nightgown slipped off her smooth shoulder, revealing a breathtaking curve. She looked at me without a trace of modesty, her eyes a mix of allure and absolute confidence. "It's not a bad deal for you," she said. "I'm wealthy. I could take care of you. Besides, I just turned 34. I'm a mature woman, still in my prime, and I'm not bad to look at. Better than some 20-year-old girl, right?" Her every word was a bombshell, direct, dominant, and leaving no room for argument. She completely obliterated my fragile worldview. I stared at her, my throat dry. Chloe had strung me along, played with my heart, and dangled a vague promise of wait for me. And Sophia, at my absolute lowest, she hit me with "I'll take care of you." This world was insane. Seeing that I was still reeling from the information overload, she deftly changed the subject, her voice softening. All right, let's not think about that for now. She reached out and gently brushed the hair from my forehead. Tell me about the girl who broke your heart. How exactly did she reject you? Her touch pulled me out of my shock. The conversation circled back to the source of my humiliation. But this time, my feelings were completely different. In the light of this new morning, my relationship with Sophia had fundamentally changed. Under her powerful yet gentle guidance, my chaotic mind actually started to calm down. The last of my defenses crumbled. I guess you can't call it a breakup, I said with a bitter laugh, my voice hoarse. I confessed, and she shot me down. The reason was really weird. I looked at her, as if searching for an answer. I really felt like she liked me too. Our relationship, it was right on the edge, you know? We just needed to take that final step. But when she rejected me, she said her mom was super strict and wouldn't let her date until she graduated. As I said it out loud, I realized how ridiculous it sounded. Even a 3-year-old would laugh at that excuse. Sophia chuckled, but a second later, the amusement on her face morphed into undisguised contempt and sympathy. That's a classic user move, she blurted out, a flash of anger in her voice. That excuse is obviously fake. She was clearly just playing with your emotions. What does she take you for? Her personal beck and call boy? Good riddance. You're better off without a girl like that. Her words were a sledgehammer, shattering the last, pitiful remnants of my hope for Chloe. They were also a shot of adrenaline, making me feel less like a fool who'd been played and more like the victim of a great injustice. From now on, you'll be with me, she said, reaching out to gently pat my cheek. I'll be good to you. A warmth spread through my chest, and my nose started to sting. But I didn't notice that after Sophia called Chloe a user, her own expression flickered. She seemed to freeze for a second. The look on her face became strange. Not letting her daughter date in college. Why did that sound so familiar? A bizarre and ominous premonition began to form in her mind. She quickly suppressed it and asked casually, "You've been talking about this girl for a while, but you never told me. What university do you two go to?" At that moment, my head was filled with her promise to be good to me. I wasn't thinking clearly at all. Northwood, I answered without a second thought. We go to the same school. The moment the words left my mouth, the air around us seemed to solidify. Sophia's expression froze completely. Northwood University. The same school as her daughter, combined with that very unique house rule. I saw her mouth open, as if she was about to say something earth-shattering. Just then, my eyes fell on the phone on the nightstand. The screen showed the time. Holy crap, it was 10 a.m. I had a class with the most terrifying professor in the entire university at 10:30. The kind of professor who would fail you for being 1 minute late. Crap, crap, crap. I shot up from the bed like a bolt of lightning. All thoughts of romance, heartbreak, and complex family dynamics vanished in the face of the ultimate fear, failing a class. Sophia, I'm going to be late for class. I have to go. I scrambled to put on my wrinkled clothes, almost putting my shoes on the wrong feet. I didn't care. I bolted out of the bedroom and out of that impossibly large house like a hurricane. Behind me, Sophia was left alone, sitting stunned on the messy bed, her world turned completely upside down. I ran back to campus like a fugitive, my mind a chaotic mess. On one hand, there was the insanity of last night and Sophia's promise to take responsibility. On the other, there was my professor's stone-cold face, which boasted a 99% fail rate. I barely survived the class. As soon as it was over, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Sophia. "Come over tonight. I'll make you a nice dinner to help you relax." I stared at the message and, as if possessed, typed back, "Okay." That evening, I walked back into that enormous villa. The air was still filled with her captivating scent. Sophia was in the kitchen, dressed in a casual silk lounge dress. When she saw me, she smiled. "Come on in. Have some soup first." I ate dinner in a daze. Afterwards, she led me to the plush sofa in the living room and poured me a glass of red wine. Then, as if telling a funny story about someone else, she began. "I have to tell you something, and you can't laugh," she said. "Right after you left this morning, my silly daughter came home. You two haven't even met yet, have you?" She walked in with this long face and ran right up to me. Sophia perfectly imitated Chloe's voice. "Mom, I rejected him yesterday. I did what you said, but I feel so awful. Do you think I did the right thing?" I felt my heart drop, but I had to keep up the act of the gentle, caring mother. I asked her, "Sweetheart, tell Mommy, what's the name of this boy you like so much?" She paused for dramatic effect. Then, she leaned in close to my ear and whispered 2 words. "Leo Miller." Boom. I felt like the top of my head had just been blown off. What kind of ridiculously melodramatic plot was this? The girl I was in love with was now my stepdaughter. and my potential mother-in-law was now my wife. I stared at Sophia's face, a mask of playful triumph, completely speechless. She took a delicate sip of her wine and continued. My first thought was, how dare you have a crush on my man? But of course, I didn't let it show. I hugged her and told her in my most gentle voice, don't be sad, sweetie. Mommy will help you check him out. Oh my God, I breathed. My mind could only form those 3 words. I told her I would become a guest professor at your university under the guise of an entrepreneur in residence program and start a special project group. That way, I could observe you up close, see what your character is really like, and find out if your feelings for her are genuine. My jaw was on the floor. Her strategy was on a completely different level. A tactical nuke. My silly daughter's eyes lit up. She thought her mom was the best mom in the entire world. And then, I gave her my second condition. I said, during this observation period, to ensure my judgment isn't biased, and for the sake of your own future, you should study abroad for a while. I've already arranged everything with a top university. If he passes the test, I told her, you can come back and I'll give you my blessing to get married in style. If he doesn't, you'll already be overseas, having a good time and forgetting all about this loser. I was completely stunned. She had pulled the rug out from under her. It was a brilliant, multi-pronged attack. It gave her a legitimate reason to be close to me, removed the only obstacle, and made her look like a saint in her daughter's eyes. This woman, was she the devil? And then what? I could hear my own voice trembling. And then, Sophia smiled, a sly, cat that got the cream grin. Then my silly daughter hugged me, cried her eyes out, and kept saying, thank you, Mommy. You're the best mommy ever. Puffed. I nearly spit out my wine. I had to set my glass down when Sophia slid into my lap. I did it all for us. You're not going to back out on your responsibilities, are you? She purred, a playful threat in her voice. Besides, I never actually forbade her from having a boyfriend. She snuggled against me. Now, you belong only to me. Sophia's execution was terrifyingly efficient. 3 days. It only took 3 days. Her picture was on the homepage of the Northwood University website. A warm welcome to renowned entrepreneur and distinguished alumna, Ms. Sophia Sterling, as our new guest professor. Below, it was an announcement for the Sterling Star Project Initiative. I stared at my phone, my palms sweating. She was actually doing it. On the first day of the project, the lecture hall was packed. Everyone wanted to catch a glimpse of the beautiful CEO-turned-professor and find out who would be the lucky students chosen for her initiative. Sophia stood at the podium in a tailored white pantsuit, radiating power. After a brief introduction, her eyes scanned the crowd, finally landing directly on me. The management of this project will be handled by Leo Miller from the computer science department, she announced. All of my directives will be communicated through him. The hall fell silent, followed by a wave of shocked whispers. I could feel hundreds of eyes on me, pinning me to my seat like spotlights. Envy, jealousy, and a healthy dose of contempt. What the hell? Who is this guy? How'd he get that? Never heard of him. Must have some connections. Probably a boy toy. The guy next to me nudged me with his elbow. Dude, what did you give Professor Sterling? Teach me your ways. I wanted to crawl under my chair and die. In the days that followed, I learned the true meaning of public humiliation. During one project meeting, a senior was presenting his PowerPoint, passionately explaining his points. Sophia suddenly turned to me and whispered, loud enough for the whole table to hear. Leo, what do you want for dinner tonight? She asked softly. I'll make it for you. The room was already quiet, but now it was dead silent. I wanted to bury my head in the table. Another time, I accidentally spilled coffee on her project proposal. The entire team gasped. A few weeks earlier, a girl had made a single data error in her report, and Sophia had berated her until she cried. Everyone waited to see how I would be executed. But Sophia didn't even glance at the ruined document. She grabbed my hand, frantically turning it over. Did you burn yourself? The multi-million-dollar proposal lay on the table, stained brown with coffee, but all she cared about was my hand. She would even talk about our secrets in front of everyone. Leo, you're still so ticklish, aren't you? I forgot to tell the delivery service, no cilantro on your order the other day. You barely ate anything, didn't you? Her comments were like little knives, expertly carving a massive gap between me and everyone else. I went from being utterly mortified to slowly getting used to the jealous stares. I even started to enjoy it. So this is what it felt like to be protected by a powerful woman. The shame of being a kept man? No, this was a victor's trophy. By day, she was the revered professor, the queen of the campus. By night, she would find any excuse to keep me at her villa. There, she would shed her formidable armor, slip into a silk nightgown, and cook for me. The extreme contrast made me fall for her completely. I gradually let go of my identity as the younger man, or the one being sponsored. One evening, she was leaning against me as usual, asking me to rub her shoulders. "Leo, was today at school tiring?" she asked, purring like a lazy cat. I stopped what I was doing, flipped us over, and pinned her to the sofa. A flicker of surprise crossed her eyes, but it was quickly replaced by a smile. I leaned in, my lips close to her ear. "Professor Sterling, it's after hours now. It's my turn to evaluate you." My junior year kicked off a new, almost surreal chapter of my life. My official title was executive assistant to the CEO. In reality, I was the most expensive piece of decoration in Sophia's office. My daily routine consisted of lounging on a genuine leather sofa in her office, enjoying the perfectly calibrated 75-degree air conditioning. Watching the corporate elites outside, running themselves ragged for their six-figure salaries, I almost felt a sense of pity. All I had to do was hand her a cup of the premium green tea she'd brewed for me when she got tired of signing documents, or chat with her about campus gossip during the breaks in her video conferences. The saying, "A secretary's job is to work for the boss. Unless there's no work, then the boss works the secretary," had never been more true. One afternoon, I was slouched on the sofa, deep in a mobile game, when she suddenly looked up from a stack of files. "Leo, that condo development I mentioned last week? I bought you a unit. It's in your name." My hand slipped, and my character ran straight into the enemy team, dying instantly. I stared at her. She had already gone back to her documents, as if she had just commented on the weather. In that moment, my mind flashed back to the 2 months I had spent eating nothing but instant ramen just to afford a birthday gift for Chloe. I was such an idiot. I lunged forward and hugged her from behind, burying my face in her fragrant hair. "Honey, being a kept man is the best." She laughed, her body trembling in my arms. The feeling was better than getting a pentakill in my game. Sophia's way of spoiling me was simple, direct, and brutally effective. One night, we were flipping through a magazine on the sofa when I pointed to a lime green Lamborghini. "That color is insane," I said offhandedly. The next day, when I got to the office, a car key with the Bull logo was sitting on my desk. Underneath, it was a note. "Your new toy. Like it?" In that moment, my entire understanding of money was rewritten. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Chloe. "How are you doing over there? Is the project going well?" I looked at the words, feeling like I was reading a telegram from another century. I glanced up at Sophia, who was currently dominating a video conference call, tearing apart a group of foreign executives in fluent English. She caught my eye and gave me a playful wink, a fond smile playing on her lips. I turned off the screen and tossed the phone aside. What was I supposed to say? That I was doing great, so great that I had lost all ambition? There was no point. On the first day of my senior year, the expected call from Chloe came through. Sophia deliberately put on speakerphone, holding a finger to her lips in a shush gesture. Her beautiful eyes were sparkling with mischievous delight. "Mommy, how's the evaluation going? Is he a good person?" Chloe's voice on the other end was filled with nervous anticipation. I felt nothing listening to it, except a faint urge to laugh. Sophia's expression changed in an instant. She sighed, her voice dripping with disappointment and pain. It was so convincing, even I almost fell for it. "Sweetheart, I don't know how to tell you this. That boy, he's not the one." The line went silent. Sophia looked at me, mouthing the words. He's too arrogant. He thinks he can get by on his good looks. He's been flirting with several girls in the project group. I saw him with my own eyes accepting homemade cookies from that girl in the art department. He even patted her on the head. "No, that's impossible. Mom, are you sure you saw that, right? Leo's not like that." Chloe's voice was on the verge of tears. "Sweetheart, why would I lie to you?" Sophia's voice was now filled with even more anguish. "He also uses his position to make other students do his work while he skips out to have fun. That kind of man has no sense of responsibility, no integrity. He is not good enough for my baby girl." Every word was a knife, twisting in Chloe's heart, and every word was a drug, sending a thrill of excitement through my veins. This woman was truly a devil. From the other end of the line, we could hear suppressed, heartbroken sobs. "Listen to me, sweetheart. Just go abroad after graduation. Forget about this loser. Mommy will find someone much better for you," Sophia cooed before hanging up. She tossed the phone aside, the look of anguish on her face instantly replaced by a triumphant grin. She wrapped her arms around my neck. "Now," she whispered, "you are completely and utterly mine." I leaned down and kissed her. Guilt? All I knew was that this was the consequence of the choices we had all made. On graduation day, I was standing in the crowd in my cap and gown, looking around like an idiot. The truth was, I didn't need to look for a job. As the executive assistant to the CEO of Sterling Corp., My life had already shifted into early retirement mode. Everyone at the company knew the score. They treated me with more deference than they showed the vice presidents. I was the open secret, the most prized possession in the CEO's office. Just as I was about to go find Sophia, a familiar yet distant figure blocked my path. Chloe Sterling. She looked thinner, her eyes red and puffy, and she was glaring at me with an intensity that suggested I had personally desecrated her ancestors' graves. "Leo, you absolute bastard," she spat, her tone as predictable as ever. "Why didn't you wait for me?" I almost laughed. "My mom told me you were messing around with other girls at school, and I didn't believe her," she seethed, her face a mask of disappointment and betrayal, a performance worthy of an Oscar. "Why did you have to find someone else so quickly?" I looked at her and found the whole situation laughable. She had played me for a fool, and now she was acting like the victim of a great tragedy. "Sorry," I said, my voice as calm as if I were discussing the weather. "But you were the one who rejected me. And that ridiculously unbelievable excuse you gave me? Why should I have believed it?" The color drained from her face. I pressed on. "Why should I have wasted my youth waiting for a vague promise that you could have broken at any time? Chloe, do you really think you're that important?" My words hit her like a slap across the face. She had probably never imagined I would speak to her like that. Tears finally welled up in her eyes, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of humiliation. She still thought I was the same pathetic guy who would follow her around like a puppy. Too bad for her. I'd been completely reshaped by a wealthy, powerful woman. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. Finally, she turned and ran, choking back sobs. Watching her go, I felt nothing. If anything, I was a little grateful. If she hadn't kicked me to the curb back then, I never would have landed on my feet so spectacularly. That ridiculous chapter of my life was finally, officially, closed. Chloe's flight was scheduled to depart at 3 in the afternoon, headed to a country I would never visit. At 1 o'clock, I had just received my diploma from the university president. The red leather cover felt warm in my hands. A black Bentley was parked by the main gate, its presence both understated and ostentatious. Sophia was leaning against the car door, wearing a stunning red dress that was even more brilliant than the diploma in my hand. She took the certificate from me and casually tossed it onto the passenger seat. Then, she took my hand and pulled me into the car. "Where are we going?" I asked. She started the engine and gave me a smile that could topple nations. "City Hall." My mind went blank. No proposal, no flowers, no hesitation. I went from graduate to married man in less than 3 hours. Walking out of City Hall, I was holding a marriage certificate. Looking at Sophia, who was smiling even more brightly than I was, I still felt like I was in a daze. 3 hours ago, I was a graduate with an uncertain future. Now I was the legal husband of a billionaire CEO. She had taken my life and arranged it for me in the most domineering, illogical way possible. Former campus heartthrob? No, I was now a bona fide trophy husband. And the feeling? Damn, it was good. After getting the license, Sophia was more eager than I was. She insisted that we go see my parents immediately. I looked at the mountain of gifts piled in the trunk, and my eyes started to twitch. From top-shelf Pappy Van Winkle bourbon to luxury bird's nest soup, and several watches from brands I couldn't even pronounce. This wasn't a family visit. It was a tribute. I was nervous. Isn't this a little much? Sophia straightened my collar, her smile serene. "First time meeting the in-laws. We have to make a good impression. It's about showing respect." Fair enough. Whatever my wife says goes. When we pulled up to my parents' house, they were already waiting outside. The look on their faces when they saw Sophia get out of the driver's seat of the Bentley was priceless. Shock, confusion, followed by intense scrutiny. My dad's mouth hung open. My mom's eyes were like X-ray scanners, trying to see right through Sophia. The atmosphere at the dinner table was awkward, to say the least. My parents stared at their new daughter-in-law, a woman a decade older than me, but as beautiful as a movie star, and couldn't seem to find any words. Sophia broke the silence first. She raised her glass, her posture both elegant and humble. "Dad, Mom, a toast to you both. Thank you for raising Leo. I promise I will take good care of him." My dad finally snapped out of his trance and fumbled for his own glass. My mom just gave a tight-lipped smile and a nod. My dad cleared his throat, trying to assume the role of the patriarch. "So, Sophia, what do you do for work?" Sophia smiled. "I run a small company. Just enough to get by." I almost choked on my food. A net worth in the billions was just enough to get by. Just then, my dad suddenly put down his chopsticks. He was staring intently at Sophia, his brow furrowed in a look of deep concentration and uncertainty. He looked like he'd been constipated for 3 days. "Dad, what's wrong?" He ignored me. He pointed a trembling finger at Sophia, his voice filled with an almost holy reverence. Were you in the class of 2012 at Northwood University, Section 304? Sophia was taken aback. Seeing that she didn't deny it, my dad slammed his hand on the table, his face flushing with excitement. It is you, Sophia Sterling. The Sophia Sterling. His voice was loud enough to shake the house. Oh my God, I was in that class too. Every guy in our major had a crush on you. You were the goddess of our entire department. I was completely floored. What was happening? My dad turned to me, his eyes shining with a bizarre mix of elation, pride, and worship. He threw an arm around my shoulder, squeezing hard enough to crack my bones. My boy, you did it. You made your old man proud, he roared. The goddess our entire generation couldn't even dream of getting close to. My son actually married her. Ha ha ha. My son is better than me. Watching my dad's manic celebration, my mom's face turned black as soot. She reached over, grabbed his ear, and twisted. Spill it, she hissed. Admit it. You had a crush on her back then, didn't you? My dad's laughter died instantly, replaced by a pained yelp. No, absolutely not, he squeaked. A loser like me wouldn't dare. I only admired her from afar. Honey, I swear, you're the only one for me. Watching the chaotic scene unfold, I had a sudden realization. This trophy husband life was totally worth it. I was bringing honor to the family. 2 years later, our daughter was born. We nicknamed her Nugget because as a baby, her cheeks were as round and cute as a little chicken nugget. Sophia had long since confessed all of her schemes to me. What could I do? We had a child together. It wasn't like I could hold it against her now and tear our family apart. Besides, this life was just too sweet. To avoid any unnecessary drama, whenever Chloe came home from abroad for holidays, I would discreetly take Nugget to my parents' house, under the guise of letting the grandparents have quality time. Until today, Chloe had officially graduated and was back for good. I knew there was no more hiding. The final judgment had arrived. Nugget was toddling around on the living room carpet, babbling at her toys. I held the stunning Sophia in my arms and couldn't resist teasing her. You're a crafty one, you know that? Stealing your own daughter's boyfriend. You actually pulled it off. Sophia snuggled against me, humming defiantly. I didn't steal him. Technically, I knew you first. Besides, you're the one who came to me. I was first in line. Creak. The bedroom door swung open. Chloe stood in the doorway. Her makeup was perfect. Her clothes were designer, but her eyes were as cold as a Siberian winter. She just stood there, watching us. Watching me holding her mother. Watching the little girl on the floor who should have been her little sister, but was now her niece. I thought she would scream, break down, become hysterical. But she didn't. She was unervingly calm. So calm it was terrifying. She even managed a cold, mocking smile. Did you think I was going to lose my mind? She said. No, no, no. I figured it out months ago, the last time I was home. She glanced around the room, like a queen surveying her territory. The men's slippers by the door. The shaving kit in the study that isn't my mother's style. And, my dearest mommy, that sickeningly sweet smell of love that you can't seem to wash off. Her gaze, obsessive and twisted, landed on me. It was as if I was her long-lost toy, now returned but sullied. Leo, you were supposed to be mine. Then, she turned to her mother. Mommy dear, you really are the best mother a girl could ask for. Using my things. Are you getting used to them? But don't worry. Since you love playing these little games so much from now on, I'll play along. She delivered her final line like the most vicious of curses. Just wait for the divorce papers. And you'd better pray that your pathetic little love story is strong enough to last. With that, she turned and walked away. The sound of her high heels clicking on the hardwood floor faded into the distance. I could feel Sophia's body trembling slightly in my arms. I held her tighter. I know you lied to me back then, I said. Her body went rigid. I looked her in the eyes. You did tell her she wasn't allowed to date in college, didn't you? She didn't speak, just bit her lip and looked at me. I smiled. But what does it matter? It was perfectly normal for the 18-year-old me to like the 18-year-old her. But the 18-year-old her wanted a 25-year-old me, someone who would wait around until she had her life figured out, something she didn't have the courage to do herself. The funny thing is, when I actually turned 25, I realized something. I leaned down and kissed her. I realized the 34-year-old you is infinitely more interesting. She wasn't wrong, I wasn't wrong, and you weren't wrong. We all just chose the path that was best for ourselves. It just so happens that my path led to you.